Hey there, this is author-illustrator Jarrett Lerner, and I'm here to read you the first couple chapters in my book, Geeger the Robot Goes to School, the first in the Geeger the Robot series of early chapter books. Chapter 1, Meet Geeger. Geeger is a robot, a very, very hungry robot. That's because Geeger was built to do just one thing, eat. Geeger was constructed in a laboratory by a team of scientists. Then he was sent to a town called Amblerville. There, Geeger eats all the food that the rest of the townspeople don't want to eat, like rotten eggs and moldy bread and mushy fruit. You might say yuck, but Geeger says yum. How does Geeger work? Geeger has a brain, just like you. The only difference is that Geeger's brain is made up of wires. Your brain, meanwhile, is made up of, well, gooey brain stuff. Most of the time, Geeger's brain tells him to do just one thing. Eat, 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 eat. Sometimes Geeger puts food into his mouth and chews and swallows, like you. Other times, Geeger opens the door in his stomach and shoves the food right inside. At the end of every day, Geeger plugs himself into his Digestotron 5000. The machine sucks up all the food that Geeger has eaten and turns it into electricity. The electricity then helps power the town. Now and again, Geeger gets confused and eats things he's not supposed to, like forks and batteries and toaster ovens. When Geeger does that, the Digestotron lets him know. The machine's lights flash. Its sirens scream. Whew, whew. Geeger has lived in Amblerville for one whole month. He loves it there. There's always plenty for him to eat. But some days, Geeger gets lonely. The Digestotron doesn't make the best company. That's why Geeger has decided to go to school. Geeger doesn't know much about school. In fact, he knows nothing about school. But it must be a wonderful place. Every single morning, Geeger watches all the kids in Amblerville make their way to school, and they're always laughing and smiling. School seems like the perfect place for Geeger to make a friend. Then he won't be lonely. Geeger will soon find out if all of this is true. Today is his first day of school. Mostly, Geeger is excited, but he's also feeling a little bit nervous. What if he can't find his classroom? What if he makes his teacher mad? What if the other kids don't like him? Geeger gives his head a shake to knock these worries out of his wires. He focuses on starting his day off right. First, he screws a brand new light bulb into the top of his head. Then he goes to the kitchen, because everyone knows that a good day always starts with a good breakfast, especially Geeger. Chapter 2, Breakfast Time. There's no refrigerator in Geeger's kitchen. There isn't a microwave or an oven either. There aren't even any tables or chairs. Instead, the room is filled with buckets and barrels and cartons and containers of spoiled and rotten and stale and expired food. Geeger's brain starts buzzing as soon as he sees it all. It tells him, eat, 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 eat. So Geeger eats. First, he has 14 eggs, rotten, 3 containers of yogurt, expired, and 1 whole box of cereal, expired and stale. Delish, Geeger says, dumping the last of the cereal into his stomach. That's robot for delicious, which means yum. But Geeger is still hungry, so he eats a little more. 16 bananas, brown and mushy, 7 waffles, slightly moldy, and 1 container of motor oil, premium grade. Delectable, Geeger says, shaking the container of oil so that every last drop gets into his guts. That's robot for delectable, which means super yummy. But Geeger is still hungry. So he eats a lot more. 11 more waffles, extremely moldy, 3 batteries, 9 volts, 6 pieces of toast, burnt to a crisp, 2 scoops of mac and cheese, moldy, 2 scoops of mashed potatoes, even moldier, 1 backpack stuffed full of snacks, 13 strawberries, smushed, 22 blueberries, super smushed, and 2 cans of garbanzo beans. Expired. Divine, Geeger says, tossing the second can of beans into his tummy. That's robot for divine, which means, holy cow, was that yummy. Then Geeger checks the clock and says something else. Uh-oh, which is just robot for uh-oh, but which in this case means Geeger needs to hurry up and leave the house if he doesn't want to be late to school on his very first day. Because look at the time. The time is, you should have left 5 minutes ago o'clock. Geeger just needs to grab his backpack and he'll be ready. But where's his backpack? Geeger thought he saw it sitting there on the counter just a moment ago. Wasn't it right between the mashed potatoes and the strawberries? Or maybe he left it next to the digestatron. If Geeger goes to look for it, he'll definitely be late for school. What's worse, showing up late on your very first day of school or showing up without a backpack? Geeger checks his other clock. It says, "What are you still doing here, o'clock?" Eek! Before he can waste another second, Geeger hurries out the door. So if you liked those first couple chapters of Geeger the Robot, I hope you'll check it out and check out the rest of the books in the series. And maybe you'll get to find out where Geeger's backpack really is. Maybe you already know where it is. And you can find out how his first day of school goes. Thanks for listening.